Your invoice is the devil, by users Petty23. Back at a fairly new MSP I used to work for, we had a client who was a church. This church was a really good client, always reasonable with expectations, always paid their bill on time and overall pleasant to deal with. We did some work for them, and sent them an invoice. Later on we got a call from them. I took the call. They mentioned they want to talk about that specific invoice. I let the owner of the MSP take the call. The owner of the MSP inquired what the issue was with the invoice, probably assuming it was something to do with them thinking they got overcharged or double billed. Something like that. Turns out it was the number of the invoice was the problem. Our accounting software was up to invoice number 666, which was the invoice number issued to them. They weren't comfortable paying an invoice with that number and asked if we could cancel that invoice, and reissue an invoice for the same amount. We did that, and they paid it straight away. Stayed a client for as long I was with that MSP. My laptop is too heavy, by user The Great Nobby. I've been in tech support around a year now, so fun to post a tale of my times. A new secret hire request was sent through to me to get set up. This was a bigwig CFO, so we pulled out all the snazzy tech and gave him a 1500 Dell Precision. About a week later my manager puts a ticket in, replace laptop, too heavy. I was genuinely taken back by it because such a light laptop, your arm wouldn't strain if you held it above your head for ages. I message my manager, I'm sorry but his guy taking the piss? Manager, he travels a lot and says it hurts his shoulders. I do the request and send out a Dell Vostro, much smaller and less powerful, he's happy with that, ticket closed. The CFO comes to my office to introduce himself to the team. Mother FERS built like the rock. Sir, you do realize this was never going to work, right? By user The Lightning Count 1. So we had this office decide they were going to go wireless only. No wires in the office at all. Think their branch manager thought he was paying for the sonic wall, he wasn't, but that's beside the point. We use IP phones that do not have Wi-Fi connectivity. Now there are options for this, but none of them are good. Powerline Ethernet adapters, yeah, anyone who has ever been farther than 20 feet and have 2 to 3 walls in the way knows why these suck. So guy calls in, wants us to see what can be done about getting the phone to work. I tell him it's Ethernet only, as this is not something you can finagle out of. He wants to know alternatives and I repeatedly tell him that none of the alternatives will work in an office setting. He wrangles the words power line adapter out of me. A week later he calls back. His office is having Wi-Fi issues. His office has bad Wi-Fi connectivity, the phones don't work, and now somehow his cell phones have horrible signal. Thankfully it's no longer the weekend, so I forward the call to the networking group and go about my merry way. Today, I get a call from my boss. They want me to go out to the office as I am the closest one. They have been battling the internet for a week and it's not an ISP issue. They determined the issue is in the office and they need to see what is going on. I go out there and my cell phone loses connectivity right at the door. I go in and notice the thing dancing from no connectivity to 2 guaranis. So I put it back in my pocket and look around the office. Underneath each desk is a Powerline Ethernet adapter. All 30 of them. I go into the network closet and see the horror that was 30 Powerline adapters plugged into the switch, and plugged into power strips. 30 of them. Now these were not the Netgear ones that are somewhat decently made, these look unbranded. Meaning sketchy Amazon seller. I start unplugging the daisy-chained power strips and eventually unplug the entire set of 30 Powerline adapters. I go around to each desk and unplug the Powerline adapters. I restart my phone. Full bars. Wi-Fi in the office works again. He unintentionally built a white noise generator. Something inside of me bugged me about the switch he had set up. I uncovered a piece of cardboard and the sonic wall was still up and still active. It was plugged into the switch still. The switch is labeled 1 to 30 and there are wall ports labeled 1 through 30 on the wall behind it. Yes, for those that haven't figured out the plot yet, he bypassed the switch for Powerline Ethernet adapters, for no reason, and created an issue large enough to have a tech sent out during the apocalypse. I hooked everything back up physically and went into his office with a box. All 30 Powerline adapters in the box, technically 60 since they are paired, set down on his desk. I am not happy, customer service face lightning. I am angry, frustrated, don't EFF with me lightning. $me equals me or Emmett Selsh. $him equals branch manager or Alphanod. I mean ARR Alfie, not you Alfie. The bad Alfie. $him, why did you disconnect these? Do you know how much they cost? $Me, is your system up and running? Do you have cell phone service? Does your desk phone work now? Him, yes, but they worked before I switched to Wi-Fi. I wanted them to work on Wi-Fi, that's why I bought them. Me, sir, you do realize this was never going to work, right? This is the kind of thing you reach out to us for and ask if this would work. I pick one of the devices. Me, each one of these sends out a signal to its paired device. You had 30 of these in here, in this enclosed space with signals bouncing all over everything in this tiny office. 30 of them. 30. This was doomed to failure from the start. Him, so how do we fix this? Me, I just did. I have to thank you though. Him, why is that? Me, well, I am not a field technician. So all of these hours I spent in this building are overtime hours. Plus travel. Plus field visit expenses. I have been here for 3 hours so far. All of this is going to be recouped from your branch account as you agreed to on the phone. He seemed unfazed by this, which is fair as mortgage can be quite lucrative. Him, well, I will just have to figure out a way to make these work. Me, you. This will not work. This would never work. This was never going to work. None of this will ever work. You are basically drowning out all wireless signals in this office with these. Stop it. All you will do is cause another tech to come visit and do the same thing over again. He was not happy, but he did accept it. I left to come back to my house and eat a delicious pizza. I love pizza. Fun support ticket, my doctor says I can't use a laptop anymore, by user Donachius. So we at the help desk get this mystical ticket through the system. Our one summer intern just got sacked for stealing coffee pods. It was about 2/3 RDS of a 96 count case. I got a ticket that my doctor says I need to stop using a laptop, I need to switch to a PC and get a second one set up by IT at my home. I ask for clarification, in a HR approved copy/paste format. In order to best accommodate your disabilities we need to know what exactly the issue is so we can properly accommodate it. My doctor says it's causing discoloration on my legs and I need to stop using it. Insert pictures of overweight hairy leg I can't unsee. Insert note from a real dermatologist. Attached link. https://www.healthline.com/health/toasted skin syndrome number causes. He's claiming that he must stop using his laptop and needs to be issued a PC for use at home, for IT to come to his house and set it up, so he can work from home without exacerbating his issue. My first response is to run to the bathroom. My right leg has the textbook example of toasted skin syndrome. I've known about it for a while, but my doctor did a test on it and it came back negative for cancer. He wasn't sure what was causing the discoloration. It sure as heck wasn't exposure to the sun. Being on a part of the thigh that hasn't seen the sun since early 90s when shorts were significantly shorter for men and young boys. It's also only on one leg. I come back to the IT Batcave and come up with a solution. Yes, it appears as if the solution to your problem is available in the WebMD article you sent. It appears as if we could easily accommodate your disability by simply having you put your work computer on a hard surface, such as a table. An added bonus is that this improves air circulation and may improve the lifespan of your device. The good news is that I now know what this discoloration on my leg is, the bad news is that I'm second-guessing my doctor. Also, I spent too much time with a laptop in my lap. That's not a computer, by user Watermelon. My first IT role was as a help desk technician for a large agricultural company. It involved driving around to a lot of different sites to troubleshoot antiquated desktops and printers. It also involved helping a lot of farmer types who can barely even operate a computer. I once received a ticket from an office secretary, we'll call her Nancy, saying the following. My boss, Joe, said yesterday his computer won't turn on. He's not in the office today, he's semi-retired and only comes in once a week. Can you please come and look at his computer? I have a key to let you into his office. I drive to the site. Nancy lets me into Joe's office. I find a desk with a monitor and a mouse sitting on it. The mouse is plugged into the monitor via USB. The monitor has only one other cable connected, a power cable plugged into the surge protector below the desk. I look around the room to make sure I'm not missing anything, but that's it. That's his whole setup. I go back to Nancy's desk and ask, do you know if Joe takes his computer home with him? She gives me a confused look and says, no, that's his computer in there. Does he have the wrong one? It's at this moment that I realize I will have to break the news to this nice woman that the surge protector isn't a computer. I go into full bedside manner mode, a skill I really had to work on for this role. Oh, I only see a surge protector in there. Is it possible Joe mistook that for his computer? It would seem his computer is missing from the room, which explains why the monitor isn't getting a signal. She looks shocked. You mean that's not a computer? But that's what his setup has looked like for months. No wonder he's been complaining about it this whole time. After this incident, Joe continued to insist that the surge protector was his computer and that it had worked for him before. It wasn't until we had him come into the office and we provided a thorough explanation of what a typical computer setup should look like that he conceded and allowed his secretary to purchase him a new one. We never figured out what happened to his old computer.